Hi, so in this video we are going to look at how we can change the color of something in an image. We're going to change the color of this flower using a blend mode. Very similar to where if you've looked at how we added black and white, we added color to a black and white image. Very similar. So I'm working in Photoshop CC 2021, and I'm going to start by adding a new layer, because we don't want to do anything to this image layer. In fact, I'm going to lock it right there, just to make sure I don't accidentally draw on it. We are going to be working on this layer too, but first I'm going to see how my selection tool does for grabbing this flower. It looks like it's doing pretty good. Let's see. We're just going to grab the whole thing here. Oh, there's a little bit right there. There we go. And there's a little bit right there I missed. Some of these dark shadows. Oh, it got a little bit too much. We'll deal with that when we get to it. All right. We'll go back and erase, which we can do. We don't normally like to erase in Photoshop, but this is one of those exceptions. So I'm going to make sure I click on my layer 2. I'm going to grab my paintbrush, and I'm going to choose a color. Let's say I want to make this orange flower purple. And there's a couple of different ways we can do this. This is just one. I'm going to paint over this whole thing. I'll go in and fix down here later. We'll clean up the edges later. And now I'm going to change the blend mode. Sometimes people just, lower the opacity again, and that, not really the best results. So we're going to change the blend mode, which is, it's right here in your layers panel, down to hue. Then I'm going to hit Control D to drop, and you can see I've got some cleanup work to do here, but you get the general idea. Let me go ahead and clean that up down there with the eraser. You see where it's black, it really doesn't change anything, but this green right here will fix. And we need to go fix the edges of our flower because it's a little messy. There's a couple different options for that. I usually just go in and paint it. Yes, this looks kind of surreal because it wasn't this color in real life. That happens. So if you want it to look real, be careful with your color choice. But you can go in and just with the paintbrush, add more where you need it. Use the eraser to take away on this layer. But what this does is it keeps the values of whatever is there. So if it's completely white, it won't change it. If it's completely black, it won't change it. Let's go ahead and change the center and find a nice little, let's go a little bit a different color here for the center. I can do that. It's not really changing it a lot because I just changed the value. Let's go ahead and make it blue. We'll be really surreal. There we go. And you can see all I have to do if I want to change the color is paint it on there. So this is changing the hue. It's basically overriding the hue of wherever I'm painting. It's not changing the values. It will not change anything if something is completely black or if something is completely white. It will keep details. Works really great if you're doing plaids. If you're doing like a catalog and you got to change a lot of colors, blend modes are your friends. Create one mask and you can just chug through all those. Now, if this were really detailed work, I would go in and finish all these. See that black here around the edge? That's my friend right now. That's helping me out because it's not showing where my colors change. There we go. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I would go in and do cleanup work and fix all the edges if I were taking my time for a final project, but you get the idea. All we did was create a new layer, use our paintbrush. I use the select tool to control where I was painting. Use the paintbrush and change that blend mode to hue. You see these different blend modes do different things. It's a whole world out there if you've never used them. If you're doing black and white, we use the color blend mode. And it works, but for this one, hue works better because color, it kind of leaves it flat in my opinion. Hue works a little bit better because it really overwrites the hue that's there. So that's it. Make sure you do save your work, and I will see you next time.